I told myself that Neal and Johnson, both of whom are white, were probably bigots, and I set out on a mission to disprove their work. I vented about my battle with Neal and Johnson to a fellow graduate student at Penn State, a white guy from the cornfields of Southern Illinois. He was no more at home at a top 25 economics doctoral program than I was, and we spent a fair amount of time together during our first year staring at Euler equations in our favorite textbook, Recursive Methods in Economic Dynamics. I remember that book. It's a hard one. I told him I was sure discrimination was a bigger factor than Neal and Johnson were letting on, but I just can't get the data to cooperate. He asked why I was so convinced, and I erupted in a rant about the prevalence of racism and recognizing bigots on sight. My grandmother would have nodded rhythmically along. My friend responded with a burst of loud, sharp laughter in my face. He pointed out how far I was straying from our Euler equations, how on any subject rather than race, I would have never given in to such a sloppy thinking. The double identity, a classically trained economist taught to tease out causal relationships, and a Black Southern boy taught that discrimination is ubiquitous, had lived seamlessly inside me until that moment. Neal and Johnson, as it turned out, aren't bigots, and their conclusions have stood the test of time in my attempts to disprove him. I extended their analysis to unemployment, teen pregnancy, incarceration, and other outcomes, all of which follow the same pattern.